Welcome back to another episode of 9erTalk with Jasper and Jamal. I am your one half of the co-host, Jamal. Got my boy Jasper here with me. Welcome back to another episode of our show. We got a lot to break down here today. Big week. Trey Lance gets his second start. First start in about 3 months, but second start total. And we want to dive into that. We'll dive into this quarterback situation going forward. Is it going to be Jimmy Garoppolo starting? Will we get Trey Lance again this coming week? Is Kyle messing with us? We'll talk a little bit about this Texans game as a whole. Yes, we'll have a lot to talk about Trey Lance, but going forward, there was more than just Trey Lance. There's a whole nother side of the ball as well. We'll talk about the defense. There's been a lot of talk this week about Brandon Aiyuk. He had a big game, 4 catches, 94 yards. Big talk about him as well, too. So I got my guy Jasper here, and I'm curious to see his thoughts and opinions on Brandon Aiyuk. So we'll dive into that as well. And then we'll give our thoughts, going forward on the Rams game. What do we expect? What do we want to see? Before we dive into all that, chat, let me know how you guys feeling down there in the chat. Just checking in, seeing how we're doing. Good to see some of you, my guys in here. I see 49er Minded, Last Second Sports, Minded. Appreciate you guys. My guy Brad. I've gone on a little rant here. Let me take a step back and check in with my guy Jasper. Jasper, bro, how are you? It's good to see you. Welcome back to the show, bro.
What's cracking? I'm good, man. I'm good. Ready for this weekend. There's a lot going on. Exciting time to be a Niner fan, man. It's it's all come down to this, so I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. If you had told me at the beginning of the season that we'd end up here, with one game to get in, you would take it. Obviously, the course to get here. Yeah, the course to get here is, it wasn't, ideal, but here we are, and they got everything right in front of them now. So that's all you can really hope for, when you start a season. So yeah, it's a good time. So I'm good, and I'm ready to get to it.
Good, bro. It's always good to check in with you. I know we haven't had a chance to talk a whole lot about this game, so we'll be getting each other's opinions on this, which is super cool. Always good to check in, tap in with you. As we dive here into this game, I'm curious. We got to see, obviously, it was Trey Lance's second start. I'm sure we have a lot of similar takes on some things as well, but I'm sure some things are different as well. What did you like? What did you not like? I was pretty big on his. I think the kid has a lot of upside. So I think that's still fair to say. A big upside with the kid. A little slower start than expected. I don't want to say expected, just a little slower start. I think it takes a lot for a quarterback as well as a coach to get in rhythm. I think it's not one or the other. I'm definitely someone who believes it's definitely a relationship. And just as much as that's a relationship, I think football as a whole it's one of the, if not the ultimate, it's one of the ultimate team sports, if not the ultimate.
It's the ultimate.
Yeah. I think we might be a little biased. I agree with you. I think even more than soccer. Some people might not like that, but yeah, give me your opening thoughts on that. What did you like? What did you not like? I'm gonna cede the floor, bro.
Yeah, as I said in our last episode, leading up to the game, I pretty much called exactly what would happen. I knew there were going to be rocky parts. I knew he would come out slow. Was cracking Biamichi, man. Shout out Biamichi, man, for filling in for you.
He told me it's Amechi. I got it down last week. Amechi, yeah.
My bad. Shout out Biamichi, man, for looking out for your boy and stepping in. I really, really appreciate that, man. That's what that's what a team does. So shout out to you for that, for coming through in the clutch. But man, I like I said in my last episode that I was on, right, leading up to the game,
right,
I expected it to be slow. I expected the rocky start. I expected the things.
Yeah.
I expected Trey to do the things that you would expect somebody to do, given that this is only their second start and first since week 5, week 6, whenever
week 5. That's correct.
Was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
12 weeks.
all the things leading up to that, but I also expected the splash plays. I told you that would also happen. We're gonna see the flash plays. I didn't know what it was gonna be. I didn't know it was gonna be a bomb. I didn't know if it was gonna be him taking off, whatever the case may be, eluding defenders, whatever it was. I did say that this is what we're gonna see that on Sunday for sure.
Uh-huh.
And it's with And I still do think that if there was a perfect team to have him play, it was the Texans, because you got to see that the Niners were able to impose their will on the defensive end. So, it wasn't like, even though the game was, 7-3 headed into, the halftime, there wasn't a ton of pressure feeling like, oh my God, they're going to score, they're going to run,
Right.
21 answered on the board, and Trey's going to have to do a whole lot to, get us back in this game. And that's going to just put a lot of pressure on him. I never felt that in the game, which is why I think it was a lot easier for him to then just, start to get his groove and start to feel like, okay, I can do this. I belong here. I know how to play this game. Let me start getting let me start getting into a rhythm. And we started to see that again towards the end of the first half. And then, of course, we saw him look a lot more comfortable in the second half. So I liked what I saw. I liked what I saw with him, some of the line of scrimmage things, some of the calls he made at the line of scrimmage, reading the defense. I saw that. I saw him coming off of one, looking at two, looking sometimes three on his reads. That isn't easy, especially for a guy who hasn't seen live bullets. And let's just be honest, in about 2 years, he basically hasn't played a lot of football in 2 years. So that's very impressive, not to mention the NFL speed. What some of the things that I think he still needs to work on, obviously, are I think he needs to, but again, this isn't only going to come with repetition. And with repetition comes muscle memory. And right now he doesn't have a lot of muscle memory. And I think the main thing I'm seeing is the game speed of the NFL is a little different for him right now. He's still getting adjusted to that. I
agree.
And that's why I think a lot of people said, oh, he looks tentative when he's running. He looks tentative because he's not sure if he can outrun a guy and beat him to the corner. He's not sure, if he should take this dude head on or just slide. He's still getting the feel of that. So that's going to come with time, and that's going to come with, again, repetition and muscle memory and all that. So, yeah, man, it's going to be a growing process, and in that growing process there's going to be some growing pains, but there's nothing wrong with that. And the kid, he is a kid. You say you refer to him as a kid, but he literally is a kid, essentially.
I mean, he just turned 21 right before the season. He's a kid. He really is a kid, as you said. Now I'm with you, and I'm really glad that you said in your statement there, you said just before the half. I agree 100%, because I think just before the half was when he started to settle down, and he came out. I don't want to say guns blazing, but he for sure looked much more settled there in the second half. I don't think that's an accident. I think it's definitely a mix of Kyle calling plays that suit, I think, Trey Lance a bit better, as well as
Colin himself getting a rhythm for calling plays for Trey, because he's that's my point. Yeah, in the Jimmy mode.
Exactly. Yeah, calling better plays. Kyle also getting comfortable in calling the play for him that allows the quarterback to make a play, make a read. I think early on, we saw him, Kyle, come out, and I think we ran the first two plays, and that third down was the first pass. And I think early on in the game he was not quite trusting what he was seeing, but I think maybe that's what it looked like. But as you said earlier, getting used to game speed, I think that's probably really what it was. So I think he saw it, but it maybe happened a bit quicker than I think maybe he was expecting it to, as well as nerves, I think, play a role early on. Not that he's crazy, crazily nervous, but I think those things definitely affect things early on. Sometimes you hear all the time, I'm sure you've said this, and maybe you feel this way as well. Sometimes players need to get hit. They need to get hit once, and then they start to settle into the game a little bit.
Yeah, I never subscribed to that. I never needed that shit. I never needed to get hit. I'm a receiver. If I caught a slant and went 80 yards of the crib, I was cool with that.
You good?
I didn't need to get hit or touched up. None of that shit.
I love it.
Shout out Jesse.
I love it.
Appreciate that. Appreciate the love. Yeah, go ahead and subscribe to that channel. Appreciate you, sir. Jesse Naylor.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Jesse. We'll be on his channel here in a couple weeks. Be sure to tune into that as well too. I think early on he needed to settle down, trust his eyes. I remember on that play when we were backed up in the red zone, back up close to our end zone.
Coming out, we're coming out of the end zone.
Yeah, we got George Kittle on the left side and Debo out wide, and the slants. And he really had both of them. He should have hit Kittle. I think that's where it was his first read. Should have hit it. He had them, but he didn't take it. He looked like he was gonna, break from the pocket. He slid left first, then he comes back right, and he makes the play to Aiyuk. So I'm cool. I'm glad, because the playmaker is there. But trusting his eyes and being okay to take those, I want to see him He just needed to settle down. And I have no issue with it because he still was able to make a play. I just think that's a play where Kyle's going to say, I need you to hit that. And he did. He improved later on in the game. It's not like he didn't.
Well, what I saw in that play, and if I'm not wrong, if I remember correctly, I think the down and distance was third. I want to say it was third down because I saw
like 6 or 5.
Something like that, yeah. Because I saw the JT O'Sullivan breakdown of it.
Right.
Shout out JT O'Sullivan, man.
Great breakdown.
I'm old enough to remember JT O'Sullivan with the Niners.
Right.
And now to see him, shout out UC Davis. I got a ton of homies that went to UC Davis. So he's an Aggie, and man, his breakdowns are incredible, and they go into great detail. So I really, really appreciated this new breakdown of Trey Lance's film, and he was on him. He was also saying similar. He was also saying something similar as far as he thinks Kyle would probably want him to throw that now. And he's right. They were open. However, what I think Trey might have saw is they're open, but if they get tackled, they're going to be short of the first down. I don't like that look. I want to look for something beyond the sticks, which is why he scrambled out and kind of did the scramble drill. They did the scramble drill, found Aiyuk, who was beyond the sticks, first down. I think he saw the read. I think he saw both of them coming open. However, I feel like he saw the defenders that were they were still they were lightweight on their tail. So I think both of them, he needs to take that first read. It was open, but my point is, I think he saw that they were short of the sticks and they just were going to get tackled. And they would be, it was going to come up with fourth and short or whatever.
Yeah,
they had to punt because they're coming out of their own end zone. So.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I kind of mostly agree with 49ers Shaolin. I think I mostly agree with him. I think honestly, Kyle's probably telling Trey that too. But I'm also with you in the fact that I'm not mad that he did extend the play and we get the first down. Obviously, that's the play where Aiyuk picks up the first down right there, off schedule. So I like that. I also do tend to agree that. Well, one thing I think that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about so far is on that play. I don't remember who the D lineman was, but he did push up right into his face. So I think it was a mix of having a lineman in his face. The pocket wasn't fully broken yet, so he could have stayed, but there was a lineman like pushing into his face as well. So I think that, as well as us being backed into our end zone, made his timer say, I have to get out because I can't take a safety here. I don't want to take a safety. Right. I think it's a mixture of that. That's kind of like what I noticed right away when looking at it, watching it again, I think, okay, yes, he could have hit that. It's quick. I don't fault the kid for it. He's going to improve from that. He will hit those, but there's also going to be plays where he's just going to be a playmaker too, especially right now as a rookie. He's not going to be fully defined. He's not been in this system for 4 to 5 years, So some of these things where they're not hit right away and they're short, as you said, I think Kittle probably would have been tackled maybe a yard short. It was close. It would have been close for sure. Right. I think it's a mixture of that, all of that put together. And with that, I'm not mad at it. Like, it was a good play. He was able to make a play out of something that broke down partly in fault to him, that I'm not mad at it. And
it is Kittle, so who's to say they don't run through those tackles anyway and keep it
right, because it's Kittle
first down. So at the end of the day, I can understand if Kyle does want him to hit those reads, because if you hit him right now, if he could hit them right now, they could have.
He might be running
exactly. They could still be running. So
I'm with you.
Get that.
I'm with you. I thought another play I kind of wanted to talk about was that PA boot. I think it was the naked to Sherfield. That's another play where it could have gone to Kittle first, and I think Kittle's the first read. And I think 9 times out of 10, like, Garoppolo's throwing that to Kittle because the D lineman, he pushes up forward onto Trey, but Trey does that, where he kind of drifts back, buys himself a little extra, like 2 seconds, where he can throw it to the right, the left side of the Texans defender, and he hits Sherfield on the crosser. Right. That play right before going out of bounds there, I thought that was another really, really good play that shows his upside, which is really immense. I think the kid's upside is immense, really, really good. And his brain, the brain to be thinking about that too. And so I think it's those plays mixed together that settle him down. Yeah. And he knows, like, I'm sure you probably heard this too. Haberman and Middlecoff were talking about this, I think, 2 days ago? Mm-hmm. And I loved it. They talked about like arrogance / confidence. And I think that Trey right now, he's got like this, I don't want to call it reckless abandon, because I think generally he's safe with the quarterback, but he's very confident, I think, in him and what he can do, especially with his arm, that I don't think a lot of people are fully giving him that credit yet. Yes, he's still learning game speed, and I'm with you, with everyone on that. He's still learning that.
Yeah.
But I think Trey trusts his arm. I love that. He trusts that arm. And so for him to be able to look at Kittle and say, nah, I'm taking this intermediate crosser, because it was a 3 level, to not take Kittle, to get that that pass there to Sherfield, told me a lot about his arm talent. And I just, like, I don't know, I'm really into this stuff, and I look at it, I'm just like, man, that's a play there that I'm drooling over. And it looks like we got our guy.
Yeah, that was my favorite throw. I called my dad like literally right after that play, like right in the middle of the game. And I don't normally do that. Like I don't talk to anybody during the game, but I called him right after that throw. I was like, "Do you see that? Like the way he was able to not only come off of Kittle, elude a defender, flip his hips, like
the flipping the hips, yes,
to flip the hips, get your shoulders square, and throw a seed right on the sideline, hit him right in the chest for a first down. Like that's
like it looks different. I'm sorry,
that's graduate level shit right there. Like that was very impressive. That was my favorite throw by far of the game.
Yeah, I think I like that one a lot. I mean, I don't want to say, when I say this word, I think it seems like there's a lot, but I did think there were multiple throws that the kid made that were really, really like high level. I tweeted out during the game, actually, it was during the game, right there before the half, that 38-second, we get the ball back with about 38 seconds, and he throws that go route to Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah.
And that was just a beautiful ball as well. Obviously, if he comes down with that plays, we're talking about that as well right now. Like, I think everyone's talking about it.
10. Yeah, that would have been Sports Center top 10 if BA comes down with that.
It was gorgeous.
There's also and the thing about that was
it was nice.
PI. You love to see it. It was PI, and it should have been first and goal. So we actually could have been 7-7 going into halftime. Had that call back, because that would give us first and goal, at the 3-yard line. And but the thing about it, the fact that he had the audacity to throw it is what makes you. It has to have you excited, because again, those are the type of throws that put you where defenses have to
honor that, right?
Just the fact that he threw that was was just like, oh wow, like it caught me off. Like in the way he even placed it was just like, oh wow. When you look back at the replay, like
only the receiver
or only BA could have come down with it, and that's what has to get you excited as a fan, just as a fan of football, man. Just as like somebody who. A casual observer who casually observes the Niners probably should be like, man,
that was a crazy
really play. Don't push the ball down the field that much. They really only just kind of keep it between, the hashes, and like that's cool and all, but every now and then air that bitch out. So it was really, really good to see. Just it was refreshing to see, and then to come back and even I want to say, was it right after that or before that? When he hit, it was after that, obviously. Then he hit Aiyuk on the sideline again.
Yes, where he gets out of bounds.
He did get a little fortunate. That ball definitely could have been picked, but that's a soft zone.
You talk about the one between those two defenders where he slides in the zone.
So that's the right read, because that's exactly the soft spot of the zone where you're going to hit it. The defender just happened to get his hands on it and sunk. He actually he got really good depth on that play. And fortunately, went through his hands, and Aiyuk made it, a great catch.
Oh, I know which play you're talking about.
He made a great catch.
The tipped one on the sideline.
Exactly.
I got you.
So Aiyuk, excellent concentration on that, because those are tough to catch when they are tipped. So, but the fact that he was willing to throw the ball outside the numbers and just give the Niners a different look that they just haven't consistently had for a very long time. Was refreshing in itself to see. But yeah, overall, really, really good to see out of Trey. And you just continue. You just hope this maturity in the game start is going. We're going to be able to see this evolve in front of our eyes next year.
Exactly.
Get you excited.
Exactly, and 100%. I'm right there with you. And I mean, I think I personally feel the end of the first half, I think gave him the confidence he needed to believe and trust what he really was seeing. Because once he was, I don't know any better way to say this than when he chooses to be decisive about his throws, they're on him. They're on the receivers. Not, like 9 times out of 10. I thought when he plants that back foot, like that one that he threw to Aiyuk on that same drive, that setup right before that go route, he saw that it was between the two defenders. And he knew the coverage. He knew what was coming. So he stepped in with confidence, hits Aiyuk. Aiyuk then turns upfield and gets out of bounds. It wasn't like he didn't have like a 20 yards run after catch, whatever, but he was able to get out of bounds, which stopped the clock. Then he gets that chance to get that go route. To me, I'm like, okay, there it is. He sees the defense. When he's confident in what he sees, the kid makes plays. When he's able to, and right before I forget this too, nobody's talking about batted balls this week, are we? And no batted balls. I don't remember seeing. Was there one? Was there even one?
It could have been one, but I mean, it helps when you're 6'4". So.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. That's kind of what I'm getting at. I think that I'm not a QB expert or anything like that, but his mechanics did seem to be quicker. I think it's not as loopy as it was in that week 5. I think his base, but I think it's not just the arm. I think it's his base is it's more set. It's a bit quicker now too, and I think maybe I'm not the best way to describe it for me is like once he plants that back foot, like he gets the ball out and it's more here rather than loopy and then it's out, which I think in that Cardinals game, I felt like they kind of were timing him. So I noticed that as well in this game. I thought that was really nice. But yeah, then going into the second half there, I thought that's really where he took off. And one thing that came to my mind was going into the draft, we all talked about him being arguably the smartest quarterback in this draft, arguably. And he was also the most comfortable under center as well. And I saw them get back to that, getting under center, running some nakeds, some boots, the touchdown to Elijah Mitchell. Great play call, by the way. Beautiful play call right there. Thought that was really nice. And I say that because he showed me that he is, and I wrote down in my notes as I was watching the game, he's really comfortable under center. I thought he did really, really, really well under center. Did you notice that as well?
Yeah. Then that's what I knew would eventually, that Kyle would eventually, get back to having him under center a lot more instead of the shotgun, half pistol, whatever he had him in majority of the snaps in Arizona just wasn't like his offense. I was like, Kyle, just run your offense. So I knew it took him a little bit to get to that point because we were still kind of looking at halfway Arizona game, halfway through that first quarter where Kyle just wasn't in a good rhythm of calling plays for Trey yet. And he he didn't fully trust Trey to also throw the ball yet, it looked like, for whatever reason. But as the game went on, Kyle started to eventually get comfortable and okay, I guess, with Trey running some of his stuff that he normally has Jimmy running. So that just came as the game went on. And again, Kyle's not ever going to get that feel until he lets him play a little bit. That's pretty much just how it's going to be until we get to next year.
Yeah, and I know this comment's been up here for a second, so let me go ahead. Let's read this one. The difference between Trey and Jimmy is when the play breaks down or a read is missed, Trey can make up for it by improvising. Sure, he shouldn't have to if he makes the read, but that comes with reps, and I couldn't agree more. I'm with you, Raymond. I do think that he's going to be – I just think naturally this year, if he plays going forward and we make the playoffs, whether it's one game, two, whatever it is, he's going to be more of a playmaker now as a whole than executing the offense the same exact way that a Jimmy Garoppolo does. It's going to look different because, one, they're two different styles of quarterbacks. When you have a Trey Lance, you are going to test, down the field a little bit more. We see that in this game. He threw the ball outside the numbers a bit more. Whereas when you have a Jimmy Garoppolo, you're going to throw it over the middle. It's going to be more of a timing offense, which I think Shanahan does also want with Trey Lance, as well as being able to hit the ball deep down the field and make corners, safeties respect that as well too, which we all know will open up more lanes for the running, which makes us more 11 on 11. I think we all understand that as well. But I think should he be the starting quarterback going forward, and we'll get into that. I think this year in particular, he's going to be making some plays on time as well as missing certain things and just being able to extend a play because he has that God-given, capability as well too. So I don't, in my personal opinion, I don't think it's a problem that he's more of a playmaker now because Jimmy's been the starter. They haven't been propping him up to be the starter for the course of the year. Now, had he started from week 1, like I think you believed it as well, we would have liked to see that. We'd be in a different position right now. Does that mean we'd have a better record or not? I don't know. I can't say that for sure. But when it comes to him being more working within the structure of the system and the play, I think he would be further along. So great point there by Raymond. Did you want to respond to that too? Did you have any thoughts or anything?
No, I think you hit it on the head.
For sure. Yeah. I want to talk about Elijah Mitchell as well too. I thought he had a really solid game. I think he had 21 rushes, 100. I forgot. I had it up for a second. 21 for like 113, something like that. 121, something like that. I thought it was kind of quiet. I thought it was a kind of quiet like 113.
No,
it was nice.
I thought it was a decent.
It was good. I just thought it was like kind of quiet, like underrated almost.
Yeah, because I mean, I think we're hyper focused on Trey, and I think it was one of those games where we started to see the run game come along, and as the run game came along, so did the offense, and that's generally what happens no matter who's the quarterback. So
agreed.
I think we were all just focused on Trey, trying to see how he's, basically growing up right in front of our eyes, and with each rep, and Elijah Mitchell is just very consistent, man. He's not very flashy. He just kind of, he just kind of does his thing, very Garrison Hurst-like, very, just kind of just does his job. And, he's not a loud guy. He's not going to, doesn't do a lot of stuff after a first. He just gets in the huddle and just continues to do his thing, man. He's going to get his 20 carries and keep it moving. I love Elijah Mitchell.
He looks like a savvy vet.
He does.
It's almost boring, right? He just he's been doing this.
That's how that's how he carries himself. That's why it can seem quiet after a nice game. He had a really good game. So you hope to see hopefully next year they can pair him with either Mostert or whoever they end up bringing in. You'd like to see him split a little more carries with Jeff Wilson too. Just so
I agree.
So he's not getting so banged up, man. They're not spelling him enough. I personally think he could be spelled, but he's also a young guy. He has fresh legs. He was just coming off of about a 2-week absence. So
right. And Kyle trusts him. Like Kyle trusts the kid. He really just came back off injury, and Jeff Wilson doesn't get a carry this week. I didn't like that personally. I'm with you. I would like to see him get spelled a little bit more. I thought that Jeff Wilson was in the game. It's not like he wasn't in the game. He just didn't register a carry. I don't like that. He was almost used more like a fullback this week as well, too. Me personally, I don't like that because he just was coming off a knee injury, and he is affected by it. He hasn't been practicing this week. I think he's still probably going to play this week, but I didn't like that. But to me, that just screams to me, well, Kyle's really trusting this kid, and he's riding this kid. I don't know if he's doing something different in practice or if he just has it down. Maybe from your perspective, you can, having been in locker rooms like that, maybe you can explain a little bit more. But I'm not fully understanding that.
Well, for one, Kyle's consistent with riding the hot hand. He's riding the hot hand. What he's not consistent with right now is going running back by committee, which he's done his entire tenure as a coach. He's always weird. He's always rotated 2 or 3 guys in there, no matter who it was, whether it was Mostert, whether it was Tevin Coleman, whether it was Breida, whether it was Jeff Wilson, whoever he had, he was always going to use everybody. Hasty, all those guys, Trey Sermon, he's going to get guys in the rotation regardless of how the run. He can make his run game click with anybody. So it is a little weird, but at the end of the day, he does trust Elijah Mitchell so much that he's riding him right now. He's riding him like an old school bell cow, which I don't have that much problem with because he's effective. And at the end of the day, he's a rookie, so he doesn't have a ton of miles on those legs. Now he is beat up and banged up. Maybe that was the reason we didn't see that 4-3 when he broke towards the end of the game. I was really surprised.
Me too.
I was like, what? I thought he was out of there. I would have been tight if that cost me a fantasy football championship. I was like, wow, that should have been another tug.
I literally said, he's tired.
Oh, he's gone.
He is tired because they're not catching him. If he's he's tired.
He was 4-3. He was 4-3, right?
Yeah.
He didn't look. He looked 4-7.
And his 4. Yeah, I agree. It was more 4-6.
There, I was like, whoa.
No, I agree 100%. In that moment, I was like,
angle on him or nothing.
I'm with you. No, I said the same thing. I was like, oh, this is gone. And then he took that corner and he was looking back. I'm like, oh, he's just gassed. He's just tired. And I didn't go back and look, but I was like, okay, yeah, he has been getting a lot of carries today. He's also got a couple catches out of the backfield as well too. But in that moment, I was like, yeah, he's tired. I wonder if part of that is just the fact that he had been out for a couple weeks there too because of the injury, and he just was a little bit more winded than he maybe would be going forward. Or if it's that, maybe a mixture of that and the knee, who knows? But no, I was interested by that too. But yeah, nice, quiet, solid game from him. I like the kid. I think it's something like if he has 122 yards this week, he'll break 1,000 yards, which is possible. In this coming up game versus the Rams,
I think it's
we need him to run.
I think it's 130. Yeah. I think he needs
it's 130. Okay,
yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I like him. It's really cool to see. He looks like he's been here for a couple. he looks like a savvy vet. Like he's been doing this for a few years. It doesn't look like any stage seems to be too big for him. He does his interviews after the game. And he's real just calm. Like, but yeah, the last thing I'll say here is, I look for him to get spelled a little bit more. He has been banged up a couple times throughout the year. I'm not going to go as far to say he's injury prone, because I guess for me, when I look at injury prone, I look for, are you playing or are you not playing? And yeah, there's been a couple times where he's been out, but I think in order to keep him healthier, I think you should take advantage of a Jeff Wilson who has come on strong over the last month. You can maybe get a Trey Sermon in there who just got off the IR. I like the fact that you have more than one good running back like that. I just think you should use them.
Yeah. Completely agree.
Yeah. Do you want to switch over to the defense a little bit? I wanted to shout out Arden Key and Jordan Willis. I think the defensive line's done really solid, actually. So I think one thing that I've noticed is I think they're keeping guys a lot more fresh on that defensive line, because I believe it was Arden Key played 17 snaps. He had pressures on, I think, 7 of them. And Jordan Willis played 16. Yeah. He registered a sack as well, too. So shout out the defensive line. They're doing really, really well. And we're going to need them, especially. It's hard not to talk about going forward, because some things that happen now affect the game going forward. But, if certain players in the secondary aren't able to play this coming week, is, I think, just even that much more imperative for the D-line to get home. Yeah. We've seen a couple times Stafford's been willing to, throw the ball to the other team a couple times, but it's still Matthew Stafford and still the Rams. There's still a lot of firepower on that end of the ball as well, too. So to me, it looks like it's more imperative for the defensive line to get home. And I wanted to shout out those two guys in particular, as well as Chris Kasarik, for keeping those guys fresh to be able to get home, because they for sure affected the second half of that Texans game.
Samson Ebukam too.
Yeah, right. Didn't he get a sack or half a sack? Him and Armstead. Yeah. Shout out Armstead too, by the way. It's been a little quieter lately from Nick Bosa. I know he's still Nick Bosa, but it's been quieter past couple weeks. So yeah, shout out to the D-line. I think they've done a really solid job. Thoughts? Anything that stood out to you on that side of the ball?
Nothing that you didn't say already. I think they've been doing a decent job over the past 7 to 8 to 9 weeks as far as getting pressure on the quarterback. Going all the way back to the Bengals game. They didn't really. Yeah, not the Jacksonville. Yeah, definitely the Bengals game for sure.
Yeah,
when I started to see like the pressure really, really, really starting to ramp up.
Right.
Even the Vikings game as well. Just guys are, I think, as a unit, they're fresh right now, and that's what it seems like. And knock on wood, they're pretty healthy. I think that I want to say Hurst is coming back as well.
Yeah.
So he's another great rotational piece that we haven't really even got to see since bringing him over from the Raiders.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I was excited about him.
Yeah, I think he got hurt in camp. I think he was out of him and Arden Key. I think he was the one that was more of the more polished, defensive tackle. But
sure.
But Arden Key is, like you said, he's come on strong. Samson Ebukam, just rotational guys. It seems like no matter who they plug in over the past few years on that D line, seem to be effective. And
they seem to find a way.
Yeah, and Jordan Willis again has really showed his value coming off the suspension. He's looked good ever since coming back in. So no, it's a group effort with those guys, and you just, again, like you touched on, it needs to be them. So you're not relying on that back end as heavily. So that's just what it's going to come down to at the end of the day is can they get home and disrupt Stafford? Because when he's rushed, just as any quarterback is, that's when they start to make those errant throws, tips and overthrows. That's
I subscribe to the belief that quarterbacks make those mistakes when pressure is
100%
in their face. They're not 9 times out of 10. They're not making that mistake just
with a clean pocket
because they miss it in their mind.
No, it's very rare with a clean pocket that those mistakes are made. So
yeah,
hopefully we see a lot of that going forward, and we're gonna need it. They're gonna need it. They're gonna need everything on Sunday, man. They're gonna need it. Because about that, the game is the Rams are gonna do everything they can to also spoil our playoff chances, because I know they didn't forget in 2019. We knocked them out. we knocked them out in in that week 17 game, I believe. So
yeah,
they didn't forget. I know for a fact they didn't forget. On top of that, going back to that season, we beat them 5 times in a row. So they're going to do everything they can, throw everything at us. And, it's going to start with that D-line, and it's going to start in the trenches. As cliche as it sounds, it's going to be in the trenches. O-line and D-line have to bring it in order for us to be successful on Sunday. That's point blank, period.
100%. And I just wanted to address this one here. James Williams says, remember Jeff was coming off an injury when Elijah got hurt. You're correct. Yeah, he was just coming back from, was it ACL? What was his?
No. It was meniscus. I want to say it was meniscus.
Meniscus
or MCL. But I don't like to get too wrapped up in the injury talk, man, because again, I've played football, and as anybody who's played, it's a part of the game, man. So like I'm not one to. If you're out there, you're out there. You know what I mean? Like I'm not one.
Shouldn't be scared out there playing.
He's coming off an injury. He should only have this pitch. There's no such thing as no pitch count in football, bro. Like if you're suited up, you're taped up, you're cleated up, you're spatted up, you're ready to go. Yeah. So I'm not gonna fault Kyle for giving Elijah Mitchell 25 carries and not mixing it. If that's what's working,
he told us.
That's what
Kyle actually said. He literally said, "I'm going to play him as much as he can play." He actually said that before the game too. So
as he should.
You got a good point.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I'm not too worried about guys that are fresh off injuries. The reason they're out there is because I've been through rehab. If you haven't been through rehab, you don't understand. They've been through all the stress tests. They've been doing all the cutting, all the jumping, all the squatting, whatever it takes to get them to be cleared to play that game. They've done it. So I'm going to trust in the athletic trainers, the coaches that have signed off, the doctors, all the things. Come Sunday, I'm not thinking about nobody's injuries. I'm not thinking about he shouldn't be doing this because he just came back. Nah, man.
Facts.
We rolling. We rolling who we came with.
Right.
To quote the great Sherm, we rolling who we came with. So if that's who Kyle's rolling with, that's who Kyle's rolling with, man. Because I know there'd be a ton of there would be a whole different kind of energy right now if Kyle was doing the Hasty get this series, or Jeff Wilson gets this series, or Elijah gets.
They're not finding their rhythm,
and then neither of them have the rhythm. We're averaging maybe 2 yards a fucking carry, and then everybody, why isn't Elijah getting 20 carries? So. Chill.
If it's not one thing, it's another. I mean, that's
right.
Facts.
So
you're not wrong.
Chill. Like I'm not gonna sit here and talk about the injury stuff too much, man. It's football. It's week 18. Everybody's fucking banged up. Like you gotta get it out the mud. We gotta get it how we get it. That's just what it is.
So I mean, if we're just gonna close that part out, we both agree. Yeah, we would have liked to see a little bit more balance. We agree with that. We would like to see some more balance between the two running backs for sure. But we also can understand why Kyle might ride someone who's a hot hand, especially if it's working. You're not trying to change that up. So I'm with you on that. We got Cook and Smoke Sports up in here. He says, "What's good, gang? Doing good, brother. Thanks for popping in, checking us out. Be sure you guys subscribe to our channel. By the way, did not mention here in the chat, our YouTube channel is up and running now. We got it posted yesterday. 9erTalk. That's the number 9. ER, like written up here, 9erTalk with Jasper and Jamal. That's the name of our channel. It's posted. We will start streaming from that next Wednesday. But please go subscribe, tap in with us. We will continue to do some open mics where we bring y'all up as well too. Really, really, really enjoy tapping in with you guys. Appreciate the comments that y'all post. I've heard this multiple times, and I also believe and will subscribe to this belief as well. I believe that the 49ers fan base has some of the smartest fans. Now, I mean, if we're going to be honest, I'm not going over to the Jets. I'm not going to the Bills and listen to their conversations. But as a 49er fan, I can look at the comments and say, our fan base is pretty tuned in. So really appreciate you guys tuning in, tapping in with us as well. Thank you so much. Our page it's up and running. Go tap in with that as well. Before we tap into, I have a specific conversation I want to talk with you about in regards to wide receivers, and you're my guy as well, who's played wide receiver. So I appreciate your opinion and I value that as well. But before we get to that, I did want to talk about the cornerbacks and the situation. I know we got COVID, but just in regards to what we just saw on the field in that Texans game, I mean, we did see Josh Norman. He got benched, and it was confirmed that he got benched. Dante Johnson comes in and he gives up a PI directly right after that as well too. We're going to talk about Ambry Thomas as well, too. Isn't it interesting how much over the past few weeks, the way people talk about these people has changed a lot? I believe you and I have been real level-headed and saying, you know, he's a rookie and he got thrown right into the fire. We broke it down. You can go look at the past, I think, month of episodes. We've been talking about Ambry Thomas. Yeah. Well, he was the third highest graded 49ers defender this past week. And I don't remember them targeting him a lot. In fact, they were targeting Norman a bit more. What do you look at when it comes to corners based off what we've seen in that Texans game? Do you think they're going to start Norman again, or do you think he will be benched? Is there a possibility we get a Dante Johnson sighting? I know these guys are on the COVID list right now, so that may not even play a factor. And then with the possibility of E-Man coming back this week, which could be really, really, really big for us, especially if he is healthy enough to, be 100% or real close to it, that's going to be a big get as well. If he comes back, which it looks like he is, what do they do? What do they do on the other side? Do they move E-Man over there? Do they put Ambry over there? What do you think happens?
Just to go back to the Josh Norman thing, I wasn't a fan of him being benched personally. The play he got benched on wasn't PI.
I didn't think so either. I tweeted it.
Call. That was a horrible call. So I don't know what went into that decision, but I personally don't like it.
Yeah. Everybody on Twitter was saying, "Oh, Josh Norman this and Josh Norman that." I literally tweeted out, "Am I the only one that actually thought that wasn't PI on Josh Norman?" I'm with you.
That was a horrible call. So, it is what it is. He gets beat, but so does everybody. Dante Johnson got beat right after that. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know what they're gonna do. The whole COVID.
Brad's asking here, did he get benched or was it a breather? I mean, it was confirmed that he got benched. He got benched. They asked him that in the post game. Shanahan in the post game, and he got benched.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, I think they're gonna obviously go with the healthy guys. They're probably gonna end up having to go with the guy that just signed off the street. I mean, hopefully they don't.
Darqueze Dennard.
Darqueze Dennard, right?
Michigan. I liked him when he got drafted. I was high on him.
They're gonna have to do what they got to do. Personally, if all is right and everybody does come back, I want to see E-Man, Avery, Quan Williams. Ideally, Quan Williams back in the slot. E-Man and Ambry. I don't have a problem with Josh Norman. I'm not as low on Josh Norman as everybody else is. I don't. Again, he's a good tackler. He sticks his head in there. He's forced a lot of fumbles this year. He takes risks. He gambles. But that's what a vet does. That's how you stick around in this league for so long. You don't stick around in this league just because you're ass and you continue to get burned all the time. Mm-hmm. That's not how you stick around in this league. Trust me. This league is NFL, not for long. Like that, it really
exactly.
So I pay homage to those who have been doing it for a very, very long time. Josh Norman will always have my respect for that very reason. Even though I'm a receiver and I'm always going to be receiver biased, I don't think any corners are good, if I'm being completely honest. Because if we do our as a receiver's mentality,
can't nobody stop me.
They cannot exactly. So
I was a corner playing up. I get it.
My wide out coach, shout out Coach Doug, man. He always said, man, none of them are good. None of them are good. Not even Deion Sanders, because they can't go before you. They can't go before you, so they don't know what you're doing. Unless they're a mutant or they guess, that's the only way they can stop you. So that's how I look at DBs to begin with anyway. I'm just playing crock.
He said not even Deion Sanders.
He was being dead ass. If you do what you're supposed to do, they can't stop you. Like
that's facts.
They
if you can stack them,
they can only react. They can only react. That facts. Is it. So but with that said, when it comes to the Niners DB room, man, I'm really, really Godspeed. I'm really hoping they can be back by Sunday and be cleared. I am hearing things that it's potentially, they're all doing the Zoom meetings and all the things right now, and they're doing everything they can, and it's a possibility. It's the only one that isn't is probably Demo. I think Demo's the only one because he got put on the COVID reserve list, I want to say yesterday. So that makes him ineligible to come back for Sunday. All the other guys,
it still made him ineligible because he was the last one.
I believe
on that specific day. He didn't have the correct amount of days.
I believe so, something like that. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. So,
I'm with you though. I do think that if not all, I think the majority of these guys will be back. The NFL has made their rules a little bit lighter than some other sports. I think we will see these guys back. So I agree with you on that part. Let me read this comment before I continue real quick. J Aguayo 56 says, "Happy New Year to you and your family. Kittle said this is going to be a body bag game. This will be a physical, hard-fought slobber knocker game." Yeah, man. Appreciate you. Thank you. Happy New Year to you as well, too. Thanks so much. Yeah, excited about this game. We'll see what happens. It's definitely going to be something where it needs to be more physical, especially if we are missing the corners. I mean, you can go back and watch our podcast earlier just a few weeks ago, but we've always said that games are won in the trenches. And this game almost just makes it seem like it's even more that. It was the same way the first time we played the Rams earlier in the season as well, too. That game was very clearly won in the trenches. We dominated them in that game. If we can get anywhere close to that again, I mean, I'll take it. And yeah, I know a lot of people talk about, oh, that's 5-0, and we're trying to go 6-0 this week against them since 2019, since that season started, I think. Would love to see that, but I'm definitely not taking this game lightly. That's just me personally. Last thing before we switch over to this other part of this conversation, I did want to say I'm not as low on Josh Norman as a lot of people are, but I do think that I've been higher on Dante Johnson, and so Dante Johnson's kind of been viewed more as like this utility. He's lined up at safety a few times. He's also lined up at slot corner as well when Kwan wasn't able to go a couple times as well as playing outside. That to me shows the versatility that he has. Someone who's 6'2". He is one of the more savvy vets that we have. Ideally, you don't maybe necessarily want to start him, but I'm more on the side of, I think in the smaller samples that he's played, because he hasn't been one of the starting corners, I'm a bit higher on him. I would not mind seeing him be one of the starting outside corners. Yes, Josh Norman has been playing, so there, some of that comes down to what's the word I'm looking for? Him being maybe a little bit more comfortable and set up back there, more comfortable in playing. But I do personally feel that Dante Johnson has been really solid when he's been in. I would not mind him if he comes off the COVID list being the starting corner opposite Ambry Thomas, Emmanuel Mosley, if Ambry Thomas isn't the starter. So no, let me change that. I would like it to be Emmanuel Mosley, Ambry Thomas, Kwan Williams, but the fourth one after that, I'd like it to be Dante Johnson. What are your thoughts on Dante? Are you as high as him as I am? I'm not super high, but I do think he's been really solid when he's been in.
Mm-hmm. He's a body.
Yeah. So do you think he's that much better? Josh Norman is that much better than him? Because I think he's just a body too.
No, I don't think he's that much better either.
Okay, so it's more of a toss-up. Whoever goes out there, fine. But Ambry and E-Man and Kwan.
Yeah, from what I've seen. Yeah.
I'm with you on that. I can understand that. Boom. Okay, so we are what? We are 47 minutes in. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. I said it a few minutes ago. Our YouTube channel is up now. That's 9erTalk with Jasper and Jamal. We will be streaming live. Our live streams will take place over there starting next week. Please tune in, tap in with us over there. On this channel, where the Frontline Sports Media channel that's being created as well, that will have more of the cut-ups. If you're not able to see us live, or you're driving and you need a 15-minute clip, you'll get some of those clips and stuff on Frontline Sports Media. We'll continue to talk about that going forward. Hey, I see my guy Sersky in here. Like and subscribe. Marcos as well. Subscribe, share this video to all your socials. Yes, please. Text, Discords, Reddit, family groups, and school message boards. That's right. Please. Appreciate you guys. So one of the last things I wanted to talk about here was Brandon Aiyuk. I had made a post on Brandon Aiyuk. I think it was Sunday night, actually, right after the game. Not right after, but it was later in the game. And I said, I feel all along that Brandon Aiyuk probably always wanted Trey Lance to be the quarterback, probably from the start of the season, because of the simple fact that Brandon Aiyuk's full abilities are able to be used, and or I'd say utilized with a guy like a Trey Lance who is willing to push the ball down the field. But I think Brandon Aiyuk is someone who does well in the short game. I think he also does well in the intermediate game. Where I see Brandon Aiyuk taking a jump is on the off-schedule plays. We've already seen it, what he did on that backed up play in our end zone. I think he's really going to be able to be used like that. Not only then, but I think that's where I can see him. I don't know, for lack of a better word, I can see him making plays then as well. I've also seen him improve since the draft in his contested catch ability. Mm-hmm. What comes to my mind, one of the greatest plays I've seen him make already, besides that touchdown in the Bengals game, which I still don't understand how he scored. One of the coolest plays I've seen from him was Trey's first start when we were playing the Cardinals. He didn't get a lot of separation on a specific play, and it was like a comeback route. And he goes up and outbox the receiver, had that one-handed catch. The receiver wasn't able to hit him, and he turns upfield, gets even a bigger gain. I love that. I love that from him. So I say all that, and I bring up this conversation because I know Croc and Vish have had conversations about him on the morning show. I believe it was on Tuesday, and they were talking about Brandon Aiyuk. And coming into when he got drafted, my hopes and my thoughts and the way I viewed him was like, okay, this dude can be wide receiver one. That's kind of the talent I'm seeing from the kid. I think he's more of your natural wide receiver. He's one of those guys where you say, okay, line him up outside. You're not going to use him the exact same way as a Debo, but that doesn't mean he can't take sweeps and things like that. Because to me, I guess one of the comps that I have for him on the low end, which is kind of funny because this receiver is still really good. On the low end, I think he's a little bit faster Robert Woods. They're about the same size. They're used in a similar way. I think that Aiyuk is slightly faster. When he was timed for the draft, it was like 4.5, but he was coming off a core injury. I think he's probably closer to about 4.4. And I think the difference between him and a Debo, and I know that Vish and them, what they were talking about was when you look at Debo and when you look at Aiyuk, you kind of see some of the difference in explosiveness. I think nobody's questioning the fact that Debo Samuel accelerates and is maybe even just flat out just faster than Brandon Aiyuk. And so when it comes to big plays like that, a lot of people want to say, okay, George Kittle and Debo Samuel, that's your Hill, Kelsey, comp. Those are those two guys. Now, when it comes to Brandon, I think a lot of people are kind of missing Brandon Aiyuk. I'm actually really, really high on him. I think, like I said, on the low end, I think that he's a Robert Woods, but Robert Woods plays a little bit more blocky. I think that Brandon Aiyuk is much more fluid. I think that Brandon Aiyuk, his abilities will be able to be used down the field now more because of a Trey Lance going forward. So whether he gets, and I'll be quiet and pass the floor to you after this one, whether he gets to wide receiver one may or may not matter because we do have a Debo Samuel, and I do think he will get extended. And it's okay if Debo Samuel is wide receiver one and Brandon Aiyuk is like wide receiver 1B, wide receiver 2. No, I got no problem with that whatsoever. But coming out of the draft, I was thinking, okay, this dude, he the way he moves, he kind of reminds me of a Davante Adams. That's high praise. I get it. I know. I like Davante Adams a lot. But what do I like about Davante Adams? He's not the fastest guy. Brandon Ayuk's not the fastest guy either, but I do think he's faster than the Davante Adams. Davante Adams' route running is supreme. And he's just a super, super, super hard worker, as well as the fact that, as you were mentioning earlier, once he's on top of a guy, he stacked the guy, it's done. It's wraps. And his hands are gold. He doesn't drop things. He doesn't drop the ball. He's a beast. I'm not saying he's going to become that, but I do see that his talents, and I think that the productivity of a Brandon Aiyuk is probably going to increase. I think I'd be shocked if he doesn't have an 1,000-yard season with the 49ers. I think he has that capability, that talent. I'm going to pass the floor to you. What do you think? Am I wrong on this? I want to really run this by you because I've been tested. My thoughts have been tested about Brandon Aiyuk.
I don't know.
Are we overvaluing him?
No, and I'm surprised. This is even a topic. Yeah, Brandon Aiyuk is Brandon Aiyuk. He's a really good receiver. He's very polished. I think he's just going to continue to grow. We're not seeing the Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb type numbers yet because of just who he has throwing the ball.
Yeah.
Debo plays a little faster than Aiyuk, but I think straight line speed, Aiyuk is probably faster. But Debo just comes off the line screaming, and that sometimes can be deceiving and make it look like he's faster. There's a lot of guys I lined up next to.
Yeah,
I used to go on the slot. I was some of my biggest things was always coming off the ball, making everything look like a go.
Sure.
As our receiver coach trained us to do. So sometimes when we would go in film study, he'd be like, "Why do you look faster than him?" But I know he's faster than you. So sometimes it just looks like that. But as far as as far as the Aiyuk thing goes, man, he's nice. He's good. I wasn't high on Aiyuk coming out of Arizona State because I wanted CeeDee Lamb.
Me too. That was my wide receiver one.
Right. But as I've seen Aiyuk and I've started to see some of the plays and I've started to see the game slow down for him and I've started to see him come into his own and the whole nonsense with Kyle early in the season. Like I'm just starting to see he's just growing up and maturing right in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
And I do think you can book it next year. He's breaking 1K. Like
you think so?
Not gonna be like
you're
not gonna have to wait very long. He should have had it this year if he wasn't dealing with whatever he was dealing with the first 2 or 3 weeks in the season. Like he'd have it. So
do you think Kittle's numbers go down then, or do you think Trey's just gonna be able to get all three of them rolling?
Share the wealth. Yeah, share the wealth.
So you think all three will have 1,000?
No, I don't think so. All three are gonna have 1,000.
Who goes down then? Debo?
Yeah, I think Debo is.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think Debo. Yeah, wow. I think Debo's gonna go down. As far as just maybe his overall, because he might get used a little bit more as a running back. I hope not, but he might get used more as a running back, and you might see more of a split where this year it was like 1,300 yards receiving, 300 yards rushing, and he might do something like 800, 500. He might do like an 800, 500 next year. Now
that'd be crazy.
Yeah, that would be crazy, but
he's already got 13 and 3 right now.
Yeah, that's what I meant. 13 exactly. What? 13 and 3, and he didn't even start playing running back really until the end, back half of the year. So
right,
on Aiyuk, I'm really liking what I see out of him. He is definitely he's not comparable to any, he has no comp to me. That's what's so strange about him. Even Debo, as rare as he is, he has a comp. He's like Anquan Bolden and plays a lot.
And Percy put together.
Yeah, exactly, and does a lot of those things that they did. Even is built similarly. Aiyuk's not even built like anybody I've ever seen at the receiver position. Like he is really just with his long arms and just
They're huge.
Yeah, and even just the way he moves it's not really even like Devontae. Like he moves.
Oh, he's more smooth than Devontae.
He is. I wouldn't say that, but I wouldn't say that at all.
No, okay. I'm more athletic. I think he's more athletic than Devontae.
I also wouldn't say that because
you don't think so? I do. I definitely do.
I've seen Devontae on the hoop court, so that Devontae has bounced.
I don't think Devontae getting that touchdown, that Bengals one, that was just athletically different to me, and that sticks out.
Nah, I think he could do that. I wasn't that impressed. As far as his touchdown versus the Eagles, his rookie year was more impressive than the game-winning touchdown. Personally, from a degree of difficulty, he really just turned the corner and stretched his arm. That's all he really did and dove. Like
he should have been out at the 5. He extended that.
But he took off from like the 5, but he jumped over somebody in the Eagles game. That was way more impressive than his touchdown against the Bengals. Way more impressive.
I disagree on that one.
Yeah, we're
splitting hairs.
Yeah, we're definitely splitting hairs at this point. But look, I really, really, really like Aiyuk. I'm not sure why Vish isn't high on him. I'd have to go back and see what he actually said. I don't know if it's being taken out of context, but
I think he was talking more about the T. Higgins and guys that were drafted later that we could have got at I think it was pick 31 are guys that we could have taken at that spot. Yet the Niners valued Aiyuk, and I think wasn't the other one CeeDee Lamb, or was it? Yeah, they valued those two above T. Higgins, the Claypools, the things like that. So he's saying he thinks he's a good receiver. By the way, don't want anybody to confuse that. He thinks he's a good starting receiver, but he also thinks at 31 we could have got like a T. Higgins, a Claypool had they wanted something like that. Even what's his name from the Colts, Michael Pittman. That guy as well too. So
Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah, and I like those guys are good. I think T. Higgins is really good. I like T. Higgins a lot.
Yeah.
I also like Brandon Aiyuk though, and just having that conversation with him made me think, like, am I too high on him? Or do we think the 49ers, all of us as a whole, as a fan base, are we too high on Aiyuk? To be honest, man, it's probably too early to tell. He's not a finished product by any means. This is year 2. He did, by his own account, understand truly how to be a professional now. He had to, bring it in practice every day. By his own account, he's talked about these things. So I think
I don't believe none of that shit.
Why?
I don't believe none of that shit.
Why?
I don't believe.
You think you just took the high road because Kyle and them were putting down?
Yes. There's no, because again, bro, just like Bro, go look at the video. Speaking of Devontae, go look at the video Devontae posted. I want to say Croc retweeted it.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about
I know what you're gonna say. I saw
receivers and their training in the offseason and all these videos.
I shared it and I tagged Brandon Aiyuk and Devontae.
Yeah. And all these videos you see of all these crazy footwork doctor and all these crazy stupid ass drills that you see. And me and Devontae, we have the same receiver coach. My receiver coach in junior college was also Devontae's receiver coach at Fresno State. He left Mike JC to go to Fresno State.
Right. Okay.
Shout out Coach Dub again. So we come from the same school of thought.
Mm-hmm.
And all we would never do any of those drills you see on our Instagram or none of these new young cats are doing. Shout out to them. Get your bag by all means. Do whatever you feel is necessary to do to get you to the next level. I'm not knocking any of these dudes because a lot of coaches a lot of people are training and doing a lot of things that are very lucrative for them. Feed your family, do your thing. But we would do none of that. We would do none of that. We get rest. We run routes at full speed because that's what you're going to do come game day.
Right.
I believe Aiyuk is good because Aiyuk trained and did whatever he had to do to get to that level. Now, Aiyuk also got it out the mud. He got it at it.
Mm-hmm.
He was JUCO, then went to D1.
Sierra College.
Then went to D1. And you can't go from JUCO to D1 without working your ass off. Aiyuk got to where he is because he's good. I don't care what Kyle and them were talking about. That's probably why he had to. Kyle at one point he was like, "Bro, you got to see me because you're not finna just keep talking about me." Like that's why he was like, "Yeah, we had words." I'm glad they
these
had
words. Yep.
And I'm very, very glad they had words. But none of that shit that they did, and none of that. He learned how to be a pro. No, that was podium speak. Aiyuk is good because Aiyuk is good. Yeah. Nothing changed because he was practicing better. None of it because he was running his routes harder in practice or on air. No, that shit that he does in the game is because he's good, not because of whatever he did in Santa Clara on a Wednesday afternoon. Like, the fuck out of here. I'm not trying to hear none of that shit. Yeah.
No, I'm with you on that. And I guess to close this part out, what I want to get back to is, I mean, Brandon Aiyuk is not Justin Jefferson right now. He's not putting up those same yards for sure. But we have to also take into account what this offense is. We're not asking him. We don't ask Jimmy Garoppolo to go play like a Kirk Cousins. We're not throwing the ball that much. We don't have that's not the way that this 49ers offense is built. It's built off the run. Now, that being said, I am really high on Brandon Aiyuk. One, we can talk till we're blue, but at the end of the day, wide receiver is still largely dependent on the quarterback delivering the ball to that person. So, you might have certain, games like this past week. Aiyuk had 4 catches, 94 yards. He had one play where he broke it open because I forgot which DB it was, but he missed a tackle and he was able to break it and make it like a 35-yard catch. I love that. It was Reed. Yeah, that's right. Shout out the Reeds. They're dope. Eric Reed, former Niner. Super cool. So with Garoppolo, we're seeing more, I think, wide receiver screens and things like that closer to the line of scrimmage. And it can almost seem like it gets kind of boring, or people say, oh, he just had this game, he just had that. And, by the end of the season, maybe he has 900 yards, something like that. I do think that it will become more explosive when you have a quarterback like a Trey Lance going forward. I'm not going to say it's going to happen tomorrow or whatever, but if our starting point is he gets 6 targets, this past week, Debo also got 6 targets, and he gets 4 catches for 94 yards. I do think that going forward, there is a path for him to break out. That's the word I'm going to use, break out. I think his production is going to increase next year. And honestly, it's going to look like all this talk that we've had this year is going to look probably kind of silly, like kind of stupid. Like, why were we talking about Aiyuk's not this guy or he's got to improve on this route? Yeah, I think that we're going to be able to see some of the plays down the field, these go routes. We already saw, this past Sunday, Trey Lance is going to be willing to give him those shots and those opportunities. And as you had mentioned, and I agree with, if that hand's not held, that's probably a touchdown. I don't think he's probably dropping that. And his feet were clearly going to be in bounds as well. So
it would have been tough.
It's still definitely tough. Definitely tough catch. I just think going forward, there's opportunities for him to grow. And I thought it would be something interesting to talk about because people have talked about what is Brandon Aiyuk? I think we're still wondering, is he going to be wide receiver 1? Will he become that? Who knows? I don't know. But I thought that was an interesting conversation to talk about. And then lastly, as we get out here in the next like 10 minutes or so. What do you think about this Rams game? You think it's going to be Garoppolo? You think it's going to be Trey? What are you looking for? And I think that, in my personal opinion, the Rams are going to show us no mercy. We've been beating their ass for a while now. They don't care whether it's Trey, whether it's Garoppolo. They're going to try and beat our ass. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this game? What do you expect? Do you think it's going to be Trey? Do you think it'll be Garoppolo? Who plays?
My gut tells me they're trying to do everything they can to make Jimmy play. Because Kyle's comfortable with Jimmy. That's just what it is at the end of the day. Like, that's how I've rationalized it in my head. He isn't comfortable yet with Trey. He won't be until he gets time with him. And right now he knows Jimmy is what he is, but he knows what Jimmy is, and he knows what Jimmy excels at. He knows what Jimmy's not good at. So, it's
Kyle has to find a way to get out of his comfort zone, maybe, if he puts
Trey in. But you don't want that to be in week 18. So,
yeah. It's tough, right?
Yeah, it's tough. I honestly don't know. Jimmy's throwing, so take that for what it's worth, So
I think you sound a lot like me right now, bro. I don't know what to expect.
Nobody should. Kyle doesn't. I don't believe Kyle knows. I really don't believe he knows who he's going to go with. I see a lot of people talking. I hopped in a few spaces earlier today, and I hear people saying, "Oh, Kyle knows. He's just doing the gamesmanship." Nah, it has nothing to do with that. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who starts as a quarterback. He's still going to run the rock. He knows that's his recipe for success against this very team. So he's not playing hooky and trying to make him guess as a trade. No, fuck no.
You sounded like
his playbook's not. Yeah, his playbook.
My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, his playbook isn't changing. Like, no, it's literally, it does not matter who's the quarterback. Kyle's game plan will be Kyle's game plan. However, he doesn't know. He would feel more comfortable with Jimmy because he knows how to beat this team with Jimmy. But he also, the same way he would beat this team with Jimmy is also the same way he could beat this team with Trey. So that brings me back
again.
I really have no idea. I don't. And I don't think he does. I really don't think he's playing. I think he's tired of being asked about it. But at the end of the day, he can't be tired about being asked about it because he created this problem his damn self. So what can you do? You can't be
What do you think makes it tough for him? What makes it tough for him to decide that this week in particular? I'm kind of curious because I'm with you too.
Comfortability, and also not just wanting to throw Trey to the Lions, so to speak. I mean, the Texans, the whole different ball game versus the Rams, whole different ball game versus the Rams. Now Kyle's had his way with the Rams. However, any given Sunday, and you're only as good as your last game.
Yeah.
So you throw all that shit out that happened when we played them last time early this season, because you can't bring that shit with you on Sunday. You can only do what you do on Sunday, and that's all they're going to think about. That's all they're going to be focused on. It's 0-0 again on Sunday. It ain't 31-7. It's 0-0. So when they show up, they got to do what they do. But he feels more, I think he feels just more comfortable with a vet going out there. And even if that vet throws a random bonehead pick, he knows what he can and can't do with that vet. Versus right now with Trey, he doesn't know what he can and can't do. We saw that in the Texans game. We saw a live demonstration of him not knowing what Trey can and can't not do. He doesn't want to find that out on Sunday versus the Rams when your season is on the line. Very well could come to an end, and he's sitting there trying to figure out what he can and can't do with his fucking 21-year-old quarterback who's never been here before. So that's what it comes down to, which is why I know he's going back and forth with this, and I know he's trying to see how healthy Jimmy can possibly be. So he's going to take this all the way down until Saturday or whenever it is that he has to announce. And,
I think it is Saturday, huh?
Yeah, and whenever he has to announce the starters. So
I generally agree with you on this too. I would love to be a fly in the wall and see what he needs to see in order to decide. I would love to see that because I've been a few spaces as well, and I've said the same thing. You do at the end of the day, and if I'm a coach, I'm probably thinking the same thing. I know what I'm going to get from this guy. Yeah, there may be a couple, plays or whatever where ball could be put in harm's way with the Jimmy Garoppolo, but I know for a fact how I would use him to win against this specific team. And I've used this guy all year. I've made him the starter for the year. So I can see why he would put a Garoppolo out there. what's the percentage that he needs in order to put him out there? I don't know. I know a lot of people like to talk about, oh, he's 75%, he's going to be 80, or he's 85%. Is that more? Is that better than putting out, a Trey Lance who's 100%? I generally don't subscribe to the belief of like this person is this percentage or that, because I don't really know what that means. Someone being a percentage. If you're out there, I need you to perform straight up. If you're out there, you've got to perform. You've said and you've showed me that you can perform. So go do it. If you can't, then that's detriment to the team. You should not be on the field. So if that's the case, and that's what happens, let's say he starts Jimmy Garoppolo, he goes out there and plays, and that finger starts swelling up after 10 passes, 15 passes, and it's starting to affect the way he's playing. I mean, I do think that he would pull. He'd probably pull him if it's affecting him too. I think I could see him pulling Jimmy and putting in Trey. That being said, I don't like that situation either, because then you're throwing in Trey, and it's probably a totally, I don't want to say a different play style. The two of them play differently, but the way that you would win shouldn't change. But then Kyle has to think, okay, now I'm using this rookie as well too. So is that a detriment to the team? I generally think, I generally do think so. But I do think that, I'll say this, if he does start Jimmy, I think Jimmy's got a short leash based off of the finger injury, and if he's not able to execute the offense the way that he needs to. But I can also see Jimmy playing, because as we've said together, we should be running the ball. If we can run the ball on them, he's not going to have to throw the ball 23, 25. He might be able to get away with throwing the ball 20 times. That might actually be the case, which I think you could put Garoppolo possibly in that situation. I also think, as you said too, that Trey could do that as well. So at this point in time, for me, I'm really confused about what I should suspect or expect to see, because I can legitimately justify in my head why he might go with Jimmy, but I could also justify why I think he should go with Trey. That's just kind of my opinion. But because of that, I don't necessarily know what to expect. But I think, looking at this game, I think there should be a heavy dosage of Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson Jr., and Deebo Samuel. They haven't figured out Deebo Samuel at all. They just haven't figured him out. So when I'm looking at this game, go ahead.
Speaking of Deebo, like, I have no idea why he's went away from the jet sweep with Deebo. Like, that worked all 2019. He ran at least 3 times in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Jets were, or not the Jets, the Texans were on it a couple times. But then he stopped using it.
No. I'm talking about the jet sweep. A jet sweep. He has not run the jet sweep with Deebo all season long.
Oh, the jet sweep. Yeah, okay.
The jet sweep, when he comes in motion, it's counts as a pass. Jimmy literally takes it and flips it to him, like that one where he's coming across, and he can either cut it in or turn it outside, like that jet sweep, where that is literally a steal of like 10 yards. Easy.
Sure.
Teams, almost every team runs it. The Niners were running it with Deebo Samuel towards the end of
killing it in 2019,
and then all through the playoffs in 2019. He scored on it a few times. Once at Seattle, he scored off of it. Then he also scored on it. He scored on it. Rams, that last home game versus the Rams, where we knocked them out of the playoffs. I think that was like week 16 or week 15. Gold had the walk-off field goal.
Yeah.
Then he did it, and then he did it in the final regular season game, the finale, where we took the division against Seattle. He scored off it on that one too.
Yep. Yeah.
And then he ran it. He had the very first drive in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Same play where he took it
broke the record.
Where I thought he was going to score.
Receiver.
Yeah, exactly. And so he stopped doing it in 2020, and then I can't remember the time he's ran it at all this year. So I have no idea why he stopped running the jet sweep. I don't know if it's because he started using Deebo in so many other running back gadget plays, but the jet sweep is you could still line him up as his normal position, bring him in motion, and run it. Like, that's a quick 10 yards. And you're not, I guess you're also not, subjecting him to running between the tackles or doing the toss. Or during the toss was just a lot of violent movement on the toss play. Like, those toss plays, man, bro, like, good luck. Good luck on not having somebody have a concussion on those. Those toss plays, I pray every single time, no matter who's running those toss plays, because you're hitting
head on.
That is contact from a lot of people on that toss play. So yeah, I really, really do hope we see some of that. But I think his offense, we're not going to see too many more of his wrinkles And his offense is pretty much set to what he really, really feels comfortable calling this year. Doubt we see anything new that he hasn't been calling all season. It'd be nice, but you know,
it would be pretty.
That's just my thought. That was just my thought, man.
Yeah, no, that's
fair.
What
do I know? I'm just a casual fan.
That's fair. This is such an interesting week because, right before we hopped on, you and I both were like, man, I don't necessarily know what to expect. I don't know which quarterback is going to go out there. Well, props to Kyle and them because he said he's not going to tell us either. So whatever he's doing, whether it is gamesmanship or not, who knows? I don't know. I don't know who's going to be the starter. And I'm not afraid to say straight up, I don't know. I don't know what to expect.
It's both. Two things can be true. It's not gamesmanship, but it also does him no good to announce a starter either.
Exactly.
So he's probably not doing it on purpose, but also not.
Why would he tell anyway?
Information just to give you information. Exactly.
And that's Kyle's always been like that. He's always been like that. So, but yeah, I guess closing this out, we'll see what happens. We need these guys to come back from the COVID list. I generally do think that they probably will. Like you said, maybe not Lenore. He may not be the one, but we need these guys. Our secondary is depleted right now. Yeah. We need the D-line. We need the D-line to play really well. Fred Warner had a really good game this past week. Going to need that again for sure. Will we get Greenlaw back?
We need everything, man. Hopefully,
we need everything.
We just need everything. That's you wrap it on that, man. They need a lot. We need
everything.
Need Jesus to line up. They might need Jesus to put on a jersey, man. They're gonna need everything.
Yeah. I'll say this too, and you can say your last closing opinions too. But whatever happens this past Sunday, it's not Trey's fault. If Trey plays and we're and it becomes a blowout, I don't put it on Trey. This isn't his fault. I really think that we had opportunities to clinch a playoff spot earlier in the season. And yes, I know a lot of people can say Jimmy didn't do this or Jimmy didn't do that. And yes, I can agree to the point that there were some games I do put most of the blame on Jimmy. But there's also, we lost both of those Seattle games, both of them. And we also lost the second Cardinals game. Yes, we had the safeties out. That one, I do put that one more on the defense. So I want to kind of bring a level-headed take to the fact that we have had our opportunities to clinch a playoff spot earlier, and the Titans game as well too. I didn't even mention the Titans game. So whatever happens this week, I don't put that on the rookie. I think that's almost a cop-out, whether he does or doesn't play. Whether Jimmy plays and he's not able to be as effective as we've come to need him to be, especially because of the thumb injury. I don't think that's fair. If Jimmy goes out there and does not play well, I got to put that on Kyle, because I think Kyle was not comfortable enough to put his healthy rookie out there. But whatever happens in this game doesn't change my opinion on the fact that the Niners should not have been 9-8 on the season. I'll say that part.
9-7, but yeah.
9-7. If we go 9-8, I'm saying if we lose.
Oh yeah.
We'll see. Any closing thoughts here?
Winning
in, baby.
Just win.
Winning in. We'll take it from there. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in with us this week. Another episode of 9erTalk with Jasper and Jamal. Check in, tap in with us next week, Wednesday, not Thursday. Today's Thursday. We will tap in next Wednesday at 6 p.m. We will be going live from our YouTube channel at that point. Once again, like the title says up here, 9erTalk with Jasper and Jamal. Appreciate y'all staying in, tapping in with us. Appreciate all the comments up in here. Winning in, baby. Let's win this game. We'll take it one game at a time from there. Appreciate y'all. Take it easy. Peace.